mentioned this last week when we were doing the basic scale practice. Coming down to the tonic and coming down to the flat 2. You guys remember that? To we come down to the flat 2, we could be practicing in the relative minor. So in other words, we know that this is C7, but we could here, I play E minor 7 flat 5 to A7 just by landing on the C sharp, third of A. Now, by the way, that comes from the concept of, from the diminished, we have these 4 related dominants. And you can see that C and F sharp is one pair. That's what we were practicing a minute ago. C and A is another pair. So if I were to run C7 down to into A7, now here I've just run it down and there's a couple extra common notes, but I've basically targeted the third of A7. That's like practicing the relative minor. So here we're in F. That's in F. Right here, that might be in D minor. It's D minor in that case. So all to say, all these applications, if you think of targeting a note of A7, they would all work in the relative minor key as well. So let's say that last example with the triplet. Maybe I'll do the triplet with the 7 in the octave, puts that extra note in as part of the triplet, and land on the third of A7. Well, guess what? Now I'm playing to the relative minor. Right? It's a triplet with the 6-7. So I got to put in one extra note. That's all on the A7 scale. Okay. Let's see. Here's another application. Interval. Here's just on the C7 scale. Let's say it's a tonic in the third. The rule is going to be for the beat. For the note falling on beat 2. So. What's falling on B2 is the second of the scale, the D, which means no extra notes or 2. That was no extra notes. 2 extra notes. Okay, so that's how you can piece that one together. Start on a note, go up to any other note, come back down. So that's not a triplet, it's just a tonic, second, tonic. And we're going to use a rule for the note on the second beat, which would be the third note of the phrase, which is the octave. Like that, 3, 4. If I were to do it from the second and go second, tonic, second, now you're using a rule for the second. Right? And the last one is running up like a triad, right? So here we're running up a C major triad. And so again, it's the note on the second beat that judges what the rule is going to be. So just one extra note would be the rule for the third, or 3. Okay, or you could put in 3 notes in that same spot, because it's the rules for the second beat. That's 1 extra note. 3 extra notes would be. So these are kind of mix and match kind of things. In other words, I played that one example of, where you can combine, if you want, a couple of the different applications. But the thing is, you know, choose one of them, or sit and make up a whole, practice, for instance, all the chords on that first one, for instance. And the thing is this, to plug them into a tune. So if you're going to work with the blues or whatever tune you like to play, I find that the easiest. Well, I'm not trying to say it's easy. None of this is particularly easy, but it's maybe the quickest way of getting it into your playing. Pick an example that you want to be working, and just be thorough about it. Do it as many different ways as you can think of, and do it in time over changes or over a tune like this. That will kind of make it feel more real when you're practicing it.